Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. A bit of yodeling, wrong way. And today I'm gonna tell you about this, the Cardo Packtalk Edge intercom. So let me tell you more about it. Wrong way. Alright, so in this video we will talk about this nice advanced intercom, and we will consider its pros and cons and how it performs compared to its relatively high price tag. What do you think about Cardo?
Too expensive.
But first of all, maybe you're asking yourself, what is an intercom? So an intercom is this device, which is also connected to speakers, which are here in your helmet. I have them on my detachable chin piece, so this is a chintercom. And there's also a microphone. And with this device, you can talk wirelessly with other riders that have the same brand, Cardo, and the Packtalk function, I believe, not with the older models. And you can also talk via Bluetooth, which is a shorter range. Apart from that, you can use it for making phone calls, listening to music, and all of the other goodies that you can also do on wireless headphones. Now, with that said, my biggest gripe with those intercoms, be it this or the Senna, is that they don't work together.
I mean, I could say anything right now, like, you're a complete tool. But you wouldn't hear it.
So while choosing an intercom, you have to actively neglect the other one. So you can't just use your favorite brand, like you can choose your headphones from JBL or Harman Kardon, you know, select whatever brand you want, it will work with your phone. But with this, it just works with Cardo, Senna works with Senna. And I really want in the future to not have this problem that you have to choose a brand in order to communicate with your friends. So this is a bummer, and truly I hate this situation. I hope in the future all of those mesh intercoms will cooperate with one another, not via Bluetooth, but with its long-range mesh functionality. With that said, this is also not a sponsored review. I did reach out to Cardo initially to get a unit from them to review, but in the end they didn't send me one. Then I bought one just so I could also talk with other riders here in Warsaw. I did join into their affiliate program initially, but now I'm not really feeling it that much. So there is no affiliated links below. You can check them out if you want to support other creators. So bought it with my own money. Let's get into it. Alright, so what are the basic functions of the Cardo Packtalk Edge? Well, it is an intercom which has a group mesh function, so you can connect wirelessly to other riders in a group. It does not have an open mesh like the Senna does, which is a big bummer. I'll talk about that later. Naturally, with this intercom, you also have all of the usual Bluetooth functionalities of a headset, so calls, media, etc, etc. There's also music sharing, but we'll get into that a bit later. So now I have a bit of stuff noted in my phone because there's quite a bit of things to talk about the Cardo Packtalk Edge. So first I wanted to tell you that this thing is water resistant. I was riding in rain, there is no issues at all. Then talking further about the physical features of the Packtalk Edge, we do have this magnetic mount. And this is really cool because it's a really simple way to charge it up. When you get back home, you don't need to put your helmet next to a charging unit. And you can also fit several helmets with speakers and a microphone without needing to buy an additional main unit. This is something you can't do on the Senna. Further on, with the Cardo Packtalk Edge, you get, oh, actually I can do it like this. With the Packtalk Edge, you get all of the speakers and microphone in the box. So here it's all routed a bit janky with tape, etc, etc. But in a usual motorcycle helmet, you just put some Velcro tabs like this one onto the helmet, and it all fits pretty snugly. Now you have to also check if your helmet does support an intercom. Not all do, but with most of the stuff, and even this bicycle downhill helmet, it does work pretty well. I also have some spacers here. I don't know if you can see in my video. They were also in the box, so I can have the speakers a bit closer to my ears. When it comes to the speakers, they're really low profile. I feel they have a bit of an edge here, so I had to place them right. when it comes to just the placement on my earlobe, but now it works well and the sound is truly amazing. Like, sound is awesome on this unit. Then all of the cables also have plugs, which is really nice, so if something doesn't work, you can just exchange it, and that is really cool. Just 2 cables going out of here, and you also get a mount. I have some Velcro here, so this is DIY because I had to put this first on my Shoei helmet. I had it on a Shoei, and then later on this one. Everything works here pretty well. You also do get another microphone in the set if you have a helmet with a detachable or openable chin piece, which is pretty cool. When it comes to the unit itself, it is pretty lightweight, and we have a total of, I don't know, can you see it now? We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons and a roller. So all of these buttons do with various things. I'll tell you later when I'll talk about the functions of this unit. All in all, it's very sleek, it looks nice. I do prefer buttons instead of a roller, but once you get used to this is okay as well. And we of course have also a USB-C charging plug in the back with a rubber piece to keep the water out of the unit. So, not too bad. Let's move on to the main intercom functions of the Cardo Packtalk Edge. Most importantly, well, the intercom function has to work well on an intercom, so the way you speak with other riders. And here it is, for me, a lot more complicated and a lot more, well, a bit more difficult to use it than a Sena. So with a Sena, you have just a open mesh configuration. You set a channel in the app and then you forget about it. You don't need to do anything. Basically, any rider that comes in proximity of your channel and has the same channel in the unit can freely talk to you. But you can also set up a group mesh with a Sena. With the Cardo, you don't have those options. You just have a group chat available with an additional hurdle, which is an admin. So let's say you meet with your friends. There's 3 users of a Cardo. So you have to then press long on this top button, and the other riders have to do that as well. Then you create a group and you can talk with one another. Now the thing is that if anyone wants to join into this group, the admin, so the person who started grouping either via phone or via this button, is the only person allowed to do that. And that is additionally confusing because in the app you have an option to add passenger. Now, when you press this option as a non-group admin, this is essentially a function where you have a passenger like on a motorcycle. So there is this group mesh, and if you add someone to this group mesh as a passenger, then you have someone connected via Bluetooth to your unit. So this is not a standalone person that is now also in a group. This is someone additional that only works if you are there as well. So only the group admin can add new people into the group, which is annoying because maybe he's not here. So then if you meet some new people and you want to group with them, you have to make a new group. And then if the admin comes back, then you have to make a new group with him. So this is all a bit confusing. One thing that is pretty cool is that once you have this group, everyone joins in automatically when he or she is in range. And additionally, even if the admin connects to someone else to the group, while you're not present, you both individually will still connect to the group. So the grouping is a bit of a jumbly mess, I would say, especially with 2 hurdles, number 1 being the group, number 2 being the admin. So only as an admin you can add people to your group. So with that said, we had a bit of difficulties initially figuring it out. How does it work? And sometimes with the app crashing as well, it's just not as efficient and as simple to do as the Sena. And frankly, for the price that Cardo is asking for this unit, I wish it would be just a bit more seamless. But now let's talk a bit more about the functions of the intercom. One thing that is present, which I feel quite a bit more, especially that I'm into music, I was doing some home recording, I'm still doing home recording at home, this thing has latency, and it is a bit bigger than on the Sena.
Hey Wrongway, here's your test. We have the Sena mesh on both systems. I have a microphone inside this helmet as well as a microphone here so you can hear what I'm saying as well as hear what the delay is. Now, in order to do this test, I'm going to do a clap for you. Now, I'm going to stand further away just in case that the clap is being picked up by the mic.
This is the lock on the Cardo.
The amount that you see on screen, which is probably half a second, 0.6, 0.7, I don't know, maybe even 0.4, doesn't seem like much, but when you're talking with someone, it does feel a little bit like a telegram call all across the world.
This is the lock on the Cardo.
You hear what I'm saying, as well as hear what the delay is.
This is the lock on the Cardo.
So when you're talking, it feels a bit less seamless than the Senna, which has less lag. Further on, there is no wind noise at all. The muffs here, or the, what is it called, the dead cat, the dead rat, works really well, so you don't hear any wind noise at all. And you can also set up in the app what is the threshold of picking up your voice. So if you have the microphone really close, you put the threshold on lower, and if you have it a bit further away, then you have to put it on higher. Further on, when it comes to range, there's pretty much no issues at all with the Cardo, but sometimes there's a bit of interference, just like on other mesh intercoms like the Senna. I don't know if it's more or less, or if the range is better or worse. It's kind of hard to judge. Sometimes it works all across a bridge, like we can see here. Sometimes there's interferences and you just don't hear the other person because there's a building or something in between. But in general, when it comes to riding, there should be no issues with range whatsoever. There's also additional Bluetooth functions of the intercom, so you can do some music sharing, but we could never make it work. So it is a four-step process. Now first you have to connect via Bluetooth to other riders, then you have to select the music in the app, then you have to press the button here for 2 seconds in order to start it. But somehow, I don't know, maybe I just can't do it, but it doesn't seem to work when I try to set it up. It did work on the Senna, not as seamlessly, but at least I could get it to work on that device. Further on, when you want to set up some things on the intercom, like turning on or off your mic, switching groups, entering a private chat, most of the stuff is pretty easy, and you can do it either via voice commands like "Hey Cardo, mic on," or "Hey Cardo, mic off." You have to just do it with a good accent, because some of our riders here in our group just say it with a bit of a different accent, and then the mic doesn't understand it or the unit doesn't understand it. Then it's also pretty simple. You turn on or off the mesh with a press and hold of the roller. You turn on and off the mic by pressing those two buttons at the same time. It does work pretty well, and you can also do those private chats. I think you select the person in the app who you want to talk to, and then you can easily switch between private chat and the group chat. So when it comes to the intercom in total and the functions of the intercom, it is a bit more limited than the Senna, and frankly, I'm bummed out because I paid more for this than the Senna.
What do you think about Cardo?
Too expensive.
All right, so with that said, let's talk now about the general functions of the Cardo Packtalk Edge. All right, so the cool thing about the Cardo is that there's quite a bit of features that you can use with voice. Just as I said earlier, with voice control for the intercom, you can also use it for music and other functions of your phone. There's also a list in the owner's manual of the Cardo Packtalk Edge where you can just see what you need to say in order to do the thing. Further on, there's also Siri, or you can use your assistant, which just comes in very handy. You probably know it from headphones. I mean, on the EUC, you have your hands free as well, but this is a lot better than, you know, picking up your phone and selecting all of the features. Further on, there's also media playback, of course, and the music also gets quieter when someone's talking via the intercom. You can also select the loudness of the music, of the intercom, and how they, you know, get quieter or louder, or what's the level of it in the app. Further on, you can also select the loudness of the sound when it turns on, which is very nice. Initially it was very loud, and some other features which are also available in the app. Another feature of the Cardo is also that it has a FM radio. If you're into that, I am not, but if you would want to listen to radio, you can do it here and switch through the media with the press of the button. So now, hopefully I explain to you more or less what's up with the Cardo. So I'll tell you what are my biggest pros and the biggest cons of this device. Well, first of all, the biggest pro is the sound quality. The sound quality is amazing. If you like listening to music, those JBL speakers with the bass boost equalizer are pretty awesome. I pretty much ride maybe 50% of my rides now with the intercom on and listening to music or making phone calls. This is just great, and I think that the sound quality here is better than on the Senna. Not that the on the Senna is bad, but this is just better. Further on, the magnetic mount is pretty cool, so you can charge it when it's not connected to the helmet. And there's of course the mesh intercom function, which once you get it to work, it does work. It's a bit more finicky than on the Senna. And talking for an intercom, mesh intercom is just awesome. And the last pro that I have written down here is, yeah, it works okay once you figure it out. So initially we were not sure, press this button, press this button. There's some functions in the app which are not as obvious, like the add passenger button, or you have to leave the group in order to enter a new one, which is on the bottom. You have to just be a bit more thorough with this than, in my opinion, with the Senna. And of course, we can't underestimate the fact that it is waterproof. It has a IP67 rating, which is a very high rating. And I guess with this rating, you should be fine when riding in rain and not having any issues if something were to happen and you would want to have a warranty case. Now let's talk about the biggest cons. The biggest con for me is the latency, which is annoying. So you kind of start talking and then the next person starts talking at the same time. It just doesn't feel as natural as it could be. And for the price I'm paying, I want no latency at all, or at least less latency like on the Senna. Another huge con is the lack of an open mesh. So you can't just select the channel. Like for example, in Warsaw, we could have channel 7, channel 6, and everyone who comes in Warsaw, new rider from abroad, he just selects the channel. Everyone can talk very easily without any necessary steps with grouping or other stuff. Like, this is a no-brainer. I wonder why this is not in the Cardo still. Then there's the painful pairing and sometimes the crashes in the app. I experience a bit of them, but sometimes it works well, sometimes not. I just would want it to make it very seamless once you get a device which costs, you know. And the biggest con, I mentioned it already a couple times, the price. If you're paying so much for an intercom, you want everything to be stellar. You want no latency, you want all of the easiest grouping options, you want it to be intelligent, to work as good as it can, because you think, well, I pay more, I want to get more. And I just don't feel like I'm getting it with the Cardo. I was plenty happy with the Senna. I sold it, I wanted to check this out. And with this, it's kind of nice, but it's not something for me. And probably, well, certainly actually, I'll be going back to the Senna RT1. With that said, I wanted to mention Jo is laughing behind because she has a Cardo and then we won't be able to talk. But there's also a couple of things I wanted to mention, which are, she's so sad, which I wanted to mention, which are small annoyances. First of all, I don't know, Cardo is the first device ever to have the play and pause button in different spots. Like, I don't know, I just don't understand. You have remote controls, you have Spotify, play and pause is the same button. Not here. Let me explain it to you. This is play if music is not playing. Once music is playing, this becomes the next button. This is the pause button, but it is not the play button. So then if you want to select the previous track, you'll press this button. It's just a bit confusing. I don't know, maybe they wanted to make it easier for glove support. I don't know. If it would be me, play, pause, next track, previous track. There's also no battery saving mode, and at least not any usable function I could find. So even if this device is disconnected from the magnetic mount, I would want to at least have an option that it automatically turns off, because, well, I don't use it. It's not connected to anything. I would just want to have this saver option. And sometimes it stays on, there's nothing happening, the mic isn't picking on anything, the phone isn't connected, and it's still draining battery. I wish it would be a bit more intelligent in the battery saving department. I would want to have a bit more comfy speakers. This is not a big con, because once I get used to them and I place them right, it's not a big issue. But hey, I can always gripe a bit about it. I would of course want no app crashes, because, you know, every one of us wants to have it work seamlessly. Jo, who is holding the camera, has to regularly forget the device, then reconnect the device in order to connect to the app. And this is actually something that is in the app written. So if you can't connect, just forget, reconnect, and then it should work again, which is small annoyance. Another thing that is annoying for me is that the app and the unit itself does tell you the battery in percent, but it is not percent. It just has 4 stages: 100%, 75, 50, 25, 5 stages, and 0% dead. So even you see percent, there's just 5 stages. Just small things, because, well, I don't know, it's easy to implement. What is the actual percentage? Because sometimes I turn it on, I go back home and it says full, and it could be at like 76 or 77, I don't know. It's, if you show percent, I want to see the actual percent. With that said, let's conclude it all. I enjoy intercoms. I think that riding with comms is amazing. I think that everyone should have their own choice which device he or she wants. Everyone should be just able to connect in between, be it a Senna, be it a Cardo, be it something else. But now we're not at the spot, and then you're like, which camp should I be in? Should I be in the Cardo camp? Maybe there's already some riders, so I buy the same thing. Or should I just buy my own intercom that I prefer, be it a different intercom, be it a Senna, and then I can't talk with the other ones. And this is a big issue. And I hope that soon we'll be able to talk with all of the intercoms combined. For today though, if you prefer to have a less annoying setup, better intercom functions, and a more intelligent intercom, then this is not it. The Senna is. So with that said, if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.